Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Auburn Gresham Community Roundtable. As you know, this is our 20th official roundtable, as well as we've conducted 3 in-person meetings and 2 visioning workshops, which makes this an unprecedented level of community engagement during the most tumultuous time in the city's history, recent history, considering we had civil unrest, a pandemic, and we're coming out of that, but yet the mayor and the aldermen and the department were still committed to making sure that we made a strong effort to continue to reach our neighbors and our stakeholders in not only Auburn Gresham, but across the Invest Southwest portfolio of neighborhoods across the city's south and west sides. As I always say, this community is richly blessed with a tremendous level of investment that's being poured in to transform this neighborhood under the mayor's vision for reinvesting in long underserved communities. Let me give you a few examples of how the city and your aldermen are supporting projects in this community. We have an $11.2 million streetscape project that will be launching this year. Right now, as you know, we are engaged in some outreach on that. We have a metro station, which is a $35+ million project brought to us by our agency partners at Metro. What the city did to facilitate that project was conveyed a large parcel that will help the overall project with a park and ride. We provided close to $9 million in funding to support our community partner, Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation's signature project that will bring healthcare back to this community with the Healthy Lifestyle Hub. We have an anaerobic digester at 650 West 83rd Street, which was a former city parking garage, parking dump tow spot yard that now will be a job creator. We facilitate that by establishing the plan development and conveying the property over to the end user. We have a number of neighborhood opportunity fund recipients all throughout the corridor and this ward. We also have a RFP development that will now transform 2 long vacant lots on this corridor. And finally, we're also participating with our agency partners, Metro, on a planning study that is the first planning study being executed while we are currently in the mix and in this current phase of project development in the Invest Southwest initiative. So, like I always say, this is probably the best Invest Southwest community. And I know you all share that sentiment and agree with me as we are making this community a place to live, work, and play. And we could not be doing this without you, without your engagement, without your input, without your feedback, without your constructive input that has helped shape the way we are doing our job here at the city to help lead the process in partnership with our community partners, residents, and stakeholders. So I say all that to say welcome, good evening, and I'm glad that we're all here this evening. And let's open.
Can you keep your voice up, Mr. Brutus? Can you keep your voice up?
Oh, sorry. Did you all miss that? I could do it again. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for your note to increase my volume. So tonight here's the agenda. For the first time, I emailed this out to you, so I'm turning a new page and trying to be more transparent in providing you with a sneak preview in advance of the roundtables as to what we will be discussing. So tonight we'll be having a quick update on the Auburn Gresham Apartments. We'll introduce our guest tonight from Yellow Banana, Michael Nance. The Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events will give us an update on the RFP site. As you all have noticed, there's a fencing going up around that spot. We'll have some community updates from GAGDC as well as the Alderman's office, should they provide some latest and greatest news for us. And then we'll open it up for Q&A. We'll announce the next meeting date, and then we'll move to adjourn. I'd like to move as quickly through the agenda as possible, as not to keep you all very long this evening. So,
voice, can you speak up again, please?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you fine, Patrick.
Okay. All right, thank you.
It gets lower. So, just the cadence of your voice, if we could just, keep it a little bit louder. Thank you.
Okay, I will try to improve my communication skill. So that being said, I want to share with you some good news. The Auburn Gresham Apartments, which is the new development that is going to be landing at 838 and 757 West 79th Street. As you know, this is a 58 unit project between both locations. We have successfully at this point now nearly completed our legislative process. We have went through the Community Development Commission on May 10th. We got a successful resolution for that. We went through the Plan Commission on June 16th, and then we also entered and introduced a city ordinance in June on June 22nd for the land sale and the city's financing. So we are anticipating going to the Committee on Finance in July, on July 18th, and then we anticipate passing out with an ordinance on July 20th. So we are just about at the end of the legislative process, and we wanted to make sure that we share that good news with you here, as we have all labored in partnership to make sure that we have arrived at this point. We think this is good news, and so we're happy to share that with you this evening. So I want to just give us all a moment to celebrate the near end of this process of this first phase. And if there are any questions, the development team is here, represented by David Block and Tori Barrett. Is Fred Spencer here too? Okay, maybe just you guys. But yeah, so we want to make sure that you guys are updated to know where we are in the process, and we are almost out of city council. So, all right. Hearing no questions, let me see the chat. Anybody chatting? Okay. All right. Let me do this. Let me take the mic off. Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, much better.
Okay. All right, and so we'll move down the agenda. Next, we have so we're very happy to bring to you an exciting news. As you know, the mayor visited this roundtable in May of 2020, and she made a commitment, May of 2021. She made a commitment to this community to ensure that the city's best efforts were being undertaken to identify and locate a grocery store option for this neighborhood. We're at a point now where we feel very comfortable to share that with you. And so, not to put the cart before the horse, I would love to, I'd like to introduce the Alderman, David Moore, who will bring us our next featured guest. Alderman, welcome to the roundtable.
Thank you so much, Patrick, and thank you all for being on here. Appreciate it very much. Everybody know when Aldi closed down, not only here on 79th, but throughout other areas of the city. It was a place that we tried to focus on as we focus on anything that closed down. But I don't know if Mr. Steve Quackenbush is on the line or not, but I just want to thank him as the owner and the landlord of that establishment for working with not only myself, but also GAGDC under the leadership of Carlos Nelson, everybody working hard to identify, someone to come to that location. We've had people to come in or make inquiries, several different people, and probably had two serious ones, but one decided not to come, and they wanted to do more of a situation where they was doing groceries, but they were only doing it for what they call it pickup, where people called in, get their groceries, they pack it, and you pick it up. They came here, they looked at it, they spoke with me, they spoke with Steve Quackenbush. I think Carlos had an opportunity to meet with them, and we was putting together so they can come before the community to introduce the idea to the community so we could decide whether that's something the community wanted. But I guess, I don't know whether their financials was right or they decided to go up north, if I think I remember correct. But then someone else came along, and that's the person I'm going to introduce, as Mr. Michael Nance came aboard, and he'll talk about how they got together. And I'm excited because when especially Black men or in our community or women get together to want to enhance communities that they've either lived in or come from, that does my heart more good than anything. And so I don't want to steal his thunder, so I'm gonna have him talk about everything. So without further ado, I'm gonna introduce Michael Nance, who's looking at the old Save-A-Lot site where Save-A-Lot had moved out. And then he'll talk about, their initiative and their plans for trying to bring something back there at that Save-A-Lot site. So Michael.
Alderman Moore, thank you so much for the very warm introduction. Thank you, Patrick, and the rest of the roundtable for having me as a representative of 127 Wall, which is our investment vehicle, and our grocery business, Yellow Banana. So this is really an outgrowth of the tremendous energy that GAGDC has been infusing into this community, along with the ample support of Alderman Moore, and a mayoral structure that has really focused on development in the south and west sides of Chicago. I was introduced to Steve Qualkenbush, the current owner of the Save-A-Lot site at 79th and Halstead, by World Business Chicago. They knew that we were looking to increase our investment in the greater Chicagoland area. Back in September of 2021, we completed our first acquisition of Save-A-Lot grocery stores. And I know in Chicago, the Save-A-Lot banner has really, overstayed its welcome in many respects. I know Save-A-Lot was at this site previously, I believe up until 2020, and they left with virtually no heads up to the community, similar to the way that Aldi has behaved on the west side and more recently in the south side of Chicago. But me and my business partners, we looked at this as an opportunity. So a little backstory just for context. I come from the urban east side of Cleveland, Ohio, from an area most well known for producing the 90s rap group Bone Thugs and Harmony. I grew up in a food desert. My parents were working class poor folks who strived greatly to provide us with high quality nutrition. And I spent a good deal of my early years shopping at the local Save-A-Lot in our community. My business partners, and I can, if there's any share screen enabled here, I'd like to share my screen.
All right, let me give you the access. Hold on.
We've got a little presentation. I won't bore you all, but just for context, I'd like you all to see, who we are and sort of a high level overview of our stories.
Go ahead, Michael.
Great. So this is our team here. It's myself and my business partners, Ademola, we call him Dem, Walker, and Joe. And the three of us, myself and Dem and Walker, we all met at Yale Law School, where we studied. We all worked in corporate law at Wachtell Lipton, a major M&A firm, for a number of years. And Walker and Ademola went off to Harvard Business School and left the law, and they've been in private investments since. They're smart guys, but all of us had a collective awakening when we realized we were busting our butts to make a lot of people a lot of other money, and we wanted to invest in things that we cared about. I told you a little bit about my background and where I'm from. Dem grew up as an immigrant child. His dad was a cashier at a Save-A-Lot type store in the community that he grew up in. Walker's family fled war-torn Liberia, and he's been involved in microfinance and investment, both domestically and abroad. And we thought, how can we bring some of the skills that we've had the opportunity to gain over the years to bear on issues that we care about. And so after my mother passed in July of 2020, I decided to leave New York, come back to the Midwest, be closer to family, and begin this investment journey. And while there, I met a gentleman named Joe Canfield, who had 30 plus years of experience in the grocery business. And we were talking about different ways to make an impact. And he said, well, have you ever thought about grocery? And I said, I haven't, but I understand that it's an important issue. And I told him a little bit about my story. And he said, wow, I didn't realize you grew up shopping at a Save-A-Lot. I actually worked at Save-A-Lot. I'm helping them in this transition. And Save-A-Lot has been going through a bit of a spiral over the last 5 years or so. And they decided to sell off their retail stores and focus on wholesaling their products. And this enabled us to have an opportunity to bring local Save-A-Lot stores under much more localized ownership, to invest in these stores in ways that they had not been invested in for many, many years, and to provide the communities that we value, communities like the ones that we grew up in, with quality food at affordable prices in an environment that was ennobling, with a structure that was beautifully, aesthetically pleasing, clean, to provide jobs for folks that were in these communities, much like my family members who took on retail jobs, and to provide them with benefits. And so we formed our organization, and we're investing in these communities. We're very proud to say that we understand what we inherited. And, we understand the way that Save-A-Lot has tarnished its name in the city of Chicago. And we've got here a couple of pictures of grocery stores that we took on over the last year. And we are doing a portfolio-wide reinvestment in all of these stores. And so we've applied for grant funding from the city of Chicago. We've been able to obtain significant private monies to help us in these efforts. And we are hopeful to get a positive decision from the city in the coming months. But this is an example of one store that we run. This is on the west side on South Pulaski. And you can see it's beat to all hell. It's not a pretty store. It's got, a late 80s, early 90s facade that has not been kept up. If you look at those stores, if you look at those floors in this store, we buff, we wash, we clean, but the floors look dirty because they're old and they're beat up and they need to be replaced. Much of the casings need to be replaced. We need to have energy efficient coolers that keep foods at the appropriate temperature. And so we understood that this is the kind of environment we were stepping into when we acquired these stores. And that's what made it a compelling investment for us. So we understand that Save-A-Lot is, for lack of a better word, shit the bed. And we're committed to delivering a very different product at this location at 79th and Halsted. And so I'd like to share with you, what we think some of these stores can look like, what the store at 79th and Halsted can look like with the right investment. This is a sample of a remodeled store, a much more modern facade, clean lines, an interior with brand new floors, new shelving, energy efficient refrigeration systems. And we think this is the kind of environment that the community at 79th and Halsted in Auburn Gresham deserves. We consider it a tremendous opportunity to invest in this community. We see what's going on, the new residential build outs that are going to be just across the street. We see what Carlos is doing at the Health and Wellness Center that he's putting up. And it's a beautiful thing, and we're excited to be a part of that. And so we are very open to hearing what the community would like to see in this store, but this is our high-level conceptual layout of what we think this store can look like in the very near future. Here is a shot of what the interior might look like, what the walls, what the layout and displays could look like in these stores. And then this just goes back to the issue. We know what we stepped into. We know how critical high quality food at affordable prices is in these communities, and we're committed to delivering that. So with that, I'd like to say, we're open to questions. We are open to suggestions about what the community wants for this store to deliver what it needs to deliver. And we want to let folks know that we're very committed to providing not only an aesthetic and high quality food, but jobs, right? The opening of this store will provide, we're projecting, approximately 20 to 25 jobs for folks from the Auburn Gresham community. These are jobs that pay above the minimum wage. We offer all of our full-time employees a matching 401k benefits plan, health, dental, insurance. We consider these to be jobs that individuals can learn and grow up within the company. No one is expected to come into the store and be a lifelong bagger or cashier. And we're proud to say that we have store managers at one of our stores in particular, who's been with Save-A-Lot for 15 years, and she's been able to grow up the ranks. We've kept her on, and we've promoted her from a sort of second in line person to a store manager because she's got the experience, she's from the community, and she understands what that community needs. And so that's sort of the full scope of opportunity we think we can offer, but we'd like to underscore that we're amenable to suggestion, and we'd like to hear from you all.
Thanks, Michael, for your presentation. We've got a lot of interest, obviously, as you can imagine. You don't mind taking a few questions, do you?
Not at all.
Okay, so let's go to the chat first before we open the mics up here. And first question is from Maria Lamont. She says, what will the name of the proposed store be, and are you planning to hire within the community?
Yes, I'm guessing she asked that question before I got to my
Right.
bullet on the second part. It will be, at least it's our plan, for it to be a Save-A-Lot store. Again, we'd like to underscore this is not the old Save-A-Lot. This is operated by us, the 127 Wall Yellow Banana team. It is owned by us. We have a license agreement with Save-A-Lot, so we procure about 60% of our goods from them. But case in point, we're not wed to buying our products solely from Save-A-Lot. Early on in the relationship, we felt quite strongly that the produce was not up to snuff. We were getting it from Save-A-Lot, and Joe and team evaluated and said, there's no way we can, in good faith, put this product in our stores. The shelf life isn't there. It's not what we are about. We don't think it gels with our moral imperative. And we went with another producer to bring in what we felt was much higher quality produce into the store. So we've got a lot of flexibility to bring in name brand goods, the produce, the meat selection that we'd like. And we think that will allow us to distinguish ourselves from, I think, what folks are used to at this kind of store, even if it is operating under the Save-A-Lot banner. We will, of course, be hiring folks from the community. We estimate 20 to 25 people, many of which will be full-time employees with an opportunity to get full benefits and grow up the ladder.
Okay, so you touched on a few of the questions already in the chat about name brands, such as Heinz Craft. You have flexibility for that. this store kind of looks like the comparable to Save a Lot and some of the Aldi's in the metro area. Can you speak to some of that in terms of comparison and quality? And also, while we're on the mic, could you also address, if you're able to at this point, to discuss if you have a local sourced plan to bring the food in? There's a question, I'm curious where the food is being sourced from. I know you touched on that a little bit in terms of having the ability to move beyond the Save a Lot packaging product. So if you can touch on that, and then there's a couple more questions. All right.
Absolutely. That's an important question. So I'd say two things on this point. One, we are, as a business, attempting to identify and acquire much more localized produce manufacturers. And what that means is not only do we say, hey, Save a Lot, are you cutting the mustard? If not, we go to another provider. But we, over time, want to bring much of that in-house to reduce costs and to keep costs down, especially in an inflationary environment. That's a goal that is probably a year or more out. And in the interim, we're very excited about sourcing locally to the extent it is available at scale. People forget that if we say, hey, we're getting our stuff locally, but you show up at our store and there's no bananas because the guy who's producing it locally can't do it at scale, you're not going to give two whats about us getting it locally. So it's a fine balance between finding someone who is local, but also has the capacity to deliver at scale and with reliability. But we are very open to sourcing locally. And it's a lot easier to do that on non-staple products, right? So if folks know of someone in the community that is producing, for example,
Community.
John Meyer, you got to mute, please.
Yep, I muted him. All right.
Okay. If you know someone who's producing a hair care product or a non-staple commodity that would be a good fit for our store, we're very happy to entertain that and hear that proposal.
Michael, will you have organic food?
Yes,
Okay.
we will have organic food. This is something that I'll be frank, that we have pushed back against some voices in the area, right? The common wisdom is that if you run a store in a moderate to low income neighborhood, these people are not interested in organic options. I call BS. I think that it is very possible to have these stores stocked with a appropriate amount of organic, healthy options. And we think all of our produce is high quality, but we understand that some people have a preference for natural and organic products, and we think that should be available in our stores. It's experimental in many ways, but we are taking an approach to financing these stores that we think over time will reduce our overhead costs and allow us to experiment with bringing in higher quality products and not be at risk of putting the business in the red. So that's something we're very excited about. One thing I did not say that I feel I must, and it's not addressing a question, but when we talk about getting the company in a position to reinvest in the community, one of the things that we are very, very seriously considering is a van, is a small bus of sorts that can transport individuals from relatively landlocked places, such as elderly homes, veterans homes, housing complexes where folks may not have access to transportation. And the concept, the idea is to have a dedicated day or two a week for each of these locales where that community can rely on us to come pick them up, take them to the store, potentially give them dedicated hours within the store, and give them assistance in getting their groceries back to their home. Because there are a lot of people who don't do full shopping because all they can manage to carry is 1 or 2 bags. And so they're making constant trips. It's a drain on their time, their energy, their money, their resources, if they've got to take public transportation. And we think that that is a relatively small investment we can make that has an outsized impact on our customers.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. What an innovative idea to help bring to the community for those who do need that transportation assistance. Looks like the organic food is a hit. I don't see too many more questions, but I do want to ask you 2 more that are in the chat here. Well, 3. I know you already answered it, but are you firm on the name? We are looking to take Auburn Gresham to a more upscale level. Save-A-Lot has a less than favorable representation on the south and west sides, as you already know. Like you said, you've already expressed that you understand the market that you're entering. You don't have too much flexibility on the name, but I think the images that we've seen in terms of how you redesigned the store, the exterior and the interior, hopefully will be an answer that is very thoughtful and acceptable. But go ahead, you can try to answer that if you want in terms of.
Absolutely. I would say our plan right now is to brand this as a Save-A-Lot store. We do believe in the overarching mission of the brand, even if we think they've dropped the ball tremendously. And we have conversations with them. We tell them, hey, you guys really dropped the ball here. And it's upsetting to see the likes of Aldi doing it, not only just recently, earlier this month, I believe, but also back in October on the West Side. And so many of these larger grocery chains are exiting these communities. And we think this is an opportunity to reposition these stores, even if it's under the Save-A-Lot banner, in a way that respects the communities and provides a much needed service. That being said, as we do our work across the city, we are open to doing things that are not Save-A-Lot branded. And we're hearing the feedback from the community. We think we have a model that we can execute on, but we're not locked into it. We're not irrationally wed to it if it's not delivering what we expect.
All right, there's 2 more questions, and I think we'll probably end this segment. And let me just say thank you for coming up with a proposal that reuses and reopens this store. We're hopeful that the community is also appreciative, being that we have been talking about grocery options in this neighborhood for quite some time, and this appears to be a possible answer to that concern. And so let me just ask you here, there's been a question regarding if there is an intent to petition for a license to sell packaged goods and then / liquor. That's a question mark. But while you're answering that, I also want you to see if you could answer, you brought up the jobs that would pay more than minimum wage. And there's a comment in the chat regarding a living wage. And so hopefully you're kind of aware of the county. Cook County has an ordinance regarding the living wage for full-time and part-time employees. If you could address the wage question, as well as the intent, or maybe not, to apply for or petition for a license to sell packaged goods such as liquor.
Yep. So I'll start with the packaged goods. I think a lot of that would turn on community demand. We have not, across most of our stores, petitioned to have liquor. We do sell some soft liquors, right? So this is your beers, your wines, but we've never across our portfolio sold hard liquor. It's not a business we particularly care to be in, absent some real and considered demand from a community. If they have no other access, we're not here to regulate what people drink. And if there's a legitimate demand and we can sell it in a responsible way, we'd be open to it. But that is not the bread and butter of our approach to grocery. So I'll just say that. And then on the other question about a living wage, it's a great point. So we are offering, we think we're pretty innovative. We want our store employees to succeed when we succeed. And so we offer uncapped bonuses to employees who can help curb the loss of our product, who can help increase sales, who get their orders right and don't allow products to sit on the shelves and spoil. And so as our employees, this is mostly focused on store managers and sort of second and third in command, hit these metrics, they're able to secure substantial benefits, tens of thousands of dollars in additional pay. And I should note that our store managers are making in excess of $60,000 a year. You know, it's a solid base pay. And I don't know exactly how high they can go realistically, but it would be close to six figures. And we're really proud of that and excited for the opportunity to bring that kind of model into these spaces.
Okay, thank you. There's a couple questions in here that I don't think are probably timely, such as, you know, when do you expect to open? That's conditional. What are the
That's
hours?
conditional, but I think, and Steve, jump in if I should shut up, but we would really like to have this store open by the end of the year. It's an ambitious timeline, but that's what we're working towards. We're putting together financing to get the rehab going, and we've got a construction team in place. We have architects in place, and we're ready to hit the ground running. And we think we can deliver a fully functional open store that looks much like the samples I've shown before the close of the year. That's our hope. And if we fall short, don't shoot me, but that's what we're shooting for.
Okay. I want to move on the agenda. I feel like we have enough conversation. You know, obviously we're not taking a vote, but it seems like the consensus is positive. And you know, as a minority investor, developer, owner, are you also? I'll let this be the last question. Reading from the chat and trying to, you know, summarize some of these together here. Are you working with Black GC, Black architect, and will you be using local service contractors for some of your efficiency initiatives inside the store, such as HVAC and refrigeration, as you indicated earlier, are important for some of the revitalization that you plan to have inside the store?
1,000%. You know, we it's very important to us that we hire qualified folks who are from the community, who look in many cases the way we look, because we know they're out there. And we want to give them our business. And we want these folks to be residents of the community, the broader Chicago community, and benefit from the investment that's going on around here. So that's a yes. And, you know, I can't guarantee that it'll be minority owned companies all the way down the chain, but we are talking to minority GCs, and they understand the imperative and our desire to hire minority workforce where available.
Yep, sounds great. Sounds great. Okay, this will be the last question, I promise everybody. This is from Crystal. She has a question about like continuing education. You know, do you have plans to support employees' higher education goals? And is that part of your benefit package?
Yes, and that's a finer point on it than I think we've internally gotten to. So what we have a lot of financial literacy training. As I mentioned, two of my business partners are Harvard MBAs. They hold balance sheet training. How do you run Excel? How do you create models? How do you create sophisticated analyses? Obviously, it helps us if our employees can do this, but it's a real skill set that they can take and leverage wherever they go if they don't stay working with us. So we are not yet at the point where we're thinking about, how do we propel folks on to college or some other educational format. And we don't know that that's right for everyone, but in terms of an ethos, that is certainly something we would want to consider. And if folks have organizations we can partner with that can make that a reality, we'd love to hear from you.
Okay. Thanks, Michael, for joining the roundtable this evening to share with us your proposal. Alderman, do you have any final comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in on the time frame question. One of the things that this is not a final and done deal. One of the things that as Michael came around, I think it was like sometime in 2021 when we first got together. I think it was before the new year, and World Business Chicago had him looking at the whole portfolios of the Save Lots, which if Michael remember when I met with him and we did a walkthrough, I said, I just want to focus on 79th because I don't know if the whole portfolio is going to get off the ground. And since then, I've been pushing the administration and the fifth floor as they put their numbers together, how we could financially assist. And just like I thought, the fifth floor wasn't looking at every Save-A-Lot and didn't want to do the whole portfolio, but 79th Street, because of what's going on at on 79th Street and West Southwest, what GAGDC is doing at 839, and just the push from our office and a collective push from the partners in the community and the involvement of these residents. The fifth floor has decided that 79th Street is one that they definitely want to consider. And I think we're going to get there. And I'm continuing to talk with planning and development and the mayor so that we could hopefully close this deal and find some money to assist Yellow Banana with so that we can bring this to fruition. And once that is done, I believe that the mayor will make an announcement towards it. And then we should be in a good position to set up time frame from there. So I just wanted to be open and honest about that. So I'm excited about it, and I think we're going to get there.
Okay. Another win for Auburn Gresham, hopefully. Wait and see. Decision, I'm sure, is imminent on your application. And we hope that, we have an opportunity to see something major happen at this location, as this is one of the opportunity sites in the corridor that, Department of Planning identified early on in the West Southwest initiative. And great work to all the folks here who helped bring this proposal to the table. And I want to give shout out to Alderman Moore and Carlos Nelson at GAGDC for working with you, Mr. Nance. And again, feel free, you're not obligated to, but if you want to hang around, and I saw you provide your information in the chat, there might be a few more questions you might want to answer, but we're going to move on to the agenda. And again,
thanks so much, Patrick. And really appreciate you, Alderman Moore, Carlos, Steve Qualkenbush. Thank you so much. Auburn Gresham is an amazing community. You can tell by the activity here, the questions that are coming in. I dropped my information in the chat. I really mean it. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to collaborate with everyone and follow the very good lead of Carlos and GAGDC. So thanks so much for having me. I'm going to drop now, but shoot me an email if you'd like to reach me. Okay,
thank you. So some of you have also been noticing at our RFP site across the street from the Healthy Lifestyle Hub, some recent construction-like activity. And this evening here to kind of walk us through what's happening in the next phase here will be Brett Swinney, our colleague from the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, who will share the screen and give you a little update as to what you're seeing on that site. Brett, welcome to the roundtable.
Thank you, Patrick. I really appreciate the invite. Hello, my name is Brett Swinney. I'm a Cultural Affairs Coordinator for DCASE, and I really appreciate being invited to the roundtable. This has been a very stimulating conversation to witness, and so I'm excited to share a project that I've been working on for the last couple of months, and I'm we're getting ready to be able to share it with this community. And it's the Invest Southwest fencing design project. And it features Vermont Static, which I'll get to eventually. One second, but one moment. Working with a group of city agencies and community stakeholders, DCASE is celebrating Chicago artists by displaying their work on fencing surrounding new development sites in the West Southwest neighborhoods. The first round will occur in Auburn, Gresham, Austin, Inglewood, and back of the yards. Every location will have one-of-a-kind artwork on hundreds of feet of fencing. Auburn Gresham is the first location for installation, which will be happening closer to the end of this month. We've been working closely with Vermont Static, who is a prolific Southside artist who's designing artwork that will be installed at 2 locations, both at 79th and Green and 79th and Halsted, the future site of the Evergreen Imagine. Let me give you some more background about Ramon. Growing up on the south side of Chicago, surrounded by urban art and public murals, Ramon Static became inspired to be involved in subcultural street art. A consequent arrest for vandalism put him on a mission to legitimize the production of aerosol murals. This became the main focus of his work, public murals that fuse graffiti aesthetic with classical training. Now I want to give you a sense of Ramon's style. This is Optical Hi-Fi, which is located at the Hard Rock Cafe downtown. And as you can see right away, that Ramon has a very vibrant color and multi-layered concepts and a certain energy that makes the piece jump off the wall. You can see that, like, with this portrait of this person, as you look closer, let me see if I can zoom in. You can just see all the different narratives that he kind of weaves within in his murals. Here's another example, which is the Great Wall of Chicago, which is over at 87th and Vincennes. And as you can see, the scale of this artwork really makes you get lost into the brilliant colors. And you really kind of get to move it within his composition. And I realized the more I work with Ramon that his work is just all over the city. And I find that, like, the more I work with him, the more I just see his work pop out of the background. And I hope after this presentation, you'll be able to see it for yourself too. Here's another example, Grand Imperial, which is located at the Rosemont Convention Center. With this contrasting color palette, it really creates this three-dimensional effect that kind of pulls you into the background. So you can see the attention to detail that you see in his creative practice. Ramon is prolific to say the least, but he's also just enthusiastic about murals and public art and the South Side. So these are the 2 locations where we're planning to install the fencing with the artwork. As you can see with the yellow outline, that's actually where the artwork will be installed. And then with the blue, that will be see-through mesh material, so you can see into the space. There will be access points. And so this fencing is supposed to go up before the developments start happening. I think the one actually at Green is already starting, but essentially over the course of this whole fencing project, these fencings will be erected with the artwork. And then as the developments happen, they'll be replaced with their own fencing. But the artwork is expected to be up between 18 and 24 months. We are aiming to have everything installed by the mid to late July. So we're actually in the process of getting ready to fabricate. These are some draft designs of what Ramon's been working on, and I can zoom in just so you can get a sense. And so these are kind of formatted for the template. Oh, actually, wait, sorry. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, Ramon use a wide variety of figurative, abstract designs, and just kind of makes this like tapestry of various scenes of Chicago culture that's representative of his own background and how he relates to the city at large. Ramon has been working for a long time. So essentially this is essentially an anthology of what he produces. He's produced almost over 400 murals to date. Here's just the details so you can get a better sense of just the crafts at work and how each layer kind of feeds into itself, kind of just give you your own personal narratives. And so when you think about this being installed at these locations, not only will these just be kind of large artwork, but it's work that you can explore. You can walk around these buildings and really get a sense. And I think this is one of those things that will require repeat visits just to really get a sense of the whole picture. So this is the work that will be installed at 79th and Halsted. And so this is the work that he's planning to install at 79th and Green. And so it still has the same style. The whole intention is that both of these pieces are still in conversation with themselves because there's a proximity, but they kind of take the conversation in different directions. And so this has a lot more playing with abstract shapes, but then, thinking about different themes and messages that we as Chicagoans deal with all the time. Yes. And here's just another detail, there's just so many layers to his work that I encourage you, like, as you drive or bike by, to just make sure to like take a look up close, because you can really spend a lot of time just dissecting all the different elements that he works into his, his murals. Oops. And so, yeah, so thank you for giving me a few moments just to talk about this project. I'm really excited to be able to reveal it to Auburn Gresham in the next couple of weeks. For more information about Ramon's work, please visit his website, which is on the screen. And definitely, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them or reach out to me via email, which I'll put in the chat in a little bit. So thank you.
Hey, thank you, Brett, for giving us that update. Are you willing to take any questions for maybe a minute or two? If anybody has any questions, I see.
Of course,
Some of the
yes.
chat is complimentary of his Ramon's work. As you said, he's done the mural at 87th and Vincennes, which is a wonderful piece of work of artwork. Other folks are saying they love the mural identifying the Auburn Gresham community. That comes from Pat. This artwork is beautiful. So yeah, that's great. Everyone is so far so good. Maybe there aren't any questions, but good to know that everybody, you guys, we're going to see some amazing art on this project site. And we're hopeful that our efforts to market not only this project but this community are going to be well received by all parties. Okay, I actually see Crystal with a hand up. So Crystal, yes, unmute yourself and feel free.
Yeah, I did put my question in the chat, but seeing how you seem like you're about to run away from this, I wanted to ask, what happens to this beautiful artwork once the construction sites are done? Is it destroyed? Is it used in other ways? Is it placed? Is there a way to maybe place it inside some of the structures that are being built, the architectures that are being built?
I mean, that's an excellent question. The best thing about it, the way we're installing it is on actually vinyl banners on panels. So I do, I have to double confirm, but I do think it's possible to actually move this, to have this work live past its existence. But we expect it to at least, I mean, the work, it has the ability to be up for 3 years, but obviously it depends on the development of the project. But yes, we do, in theory, have the ability to move it to a different site, but that's something we'll work out. But thank you for that. So we can bring that into that consideration into the process. So
okay, and I certainly hope that there'll be further conversations around that when that time comes.
Oh, definitely, and you'll be the first to I'll reach out to.
All right, awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Crystal, for joining us this evening on the roundtable. Ms. Wilson, I see you have your hand up. What is your question? And welcome to the roundtable.
Thank you. Is that the artwork that you showed? Is that the final representation of what will be painted?
He's currently actually finalizing it. He's been kind of evolving the design over the last couple of weeks, and so he's actually working on it right now. So so yeah, we've been working closely with that, but that's still a work in progress. But that's kind of the most recent draft, and we're expecting it to finish up in the next week or so. So
is your office giving the final okay, Mr. Sweeney?
I mean, all the different people that have been working on the project have kind of looked over it, and there's been several reviews of the artwork. So
who are the people who, if you could share that?
Oh, DK's mayor's office, DPD looked at it. Various other like kind of people part of the process, some community stakeholder holders, as far as like various artists that we work with, especially off the pre-qualified list, that are kind of artists that have worked all around the city that we work with all the time.
I think the work is absolutely beautiful, but because there was such a quick flashby of the, of the subject matter, and I just wanted to make sure that there are enough children represented in the, because the children are the heart of the community and who we must build up. So I'm sure I did see some children, but I just wanted to make sure that we did have, good representation of young people. Thank you.
I appreciate you bringing that up. And I know that's very important to Ramon too. And I think he always kind of evolves that within his process. And those were only kind of 2 sections of like, there's multiple sections and they're just very long, but yes, I mean, I can definitely also report back to Rahman about how essential that is to bring it to this, to make sure that's incorporated into the design. So I know you'll be able to do that.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Carlos, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, and not to extend this meeting too much longer, kind of in line with Ms. Wilson's question, a couple of items. I mean, it is very beautiful. It's captured quite a bit of the art that's already kind of utilized here in Auburn Gresham. I don't know that I saw much on the African Adinkra symbolism that's embedded in the sidewalks and tagged in some of the vacant buildings and banners. But one other thing I'd like to add, if it's not too late to add, the king of house music himself grew up on 76 and Green. And it'd be cool to incorporate Farley Jackmaster Funk as a kind of a local icon if it's not too late.
I think that's essential too. And I will definitely communicate that to him. I think that's, yeah, I'm writing that down right now. I'll definitely make sure to relay that too. So yeah, because Rahman is actively working on it, and I know he has a very generative process. So I know I can, and that was also the whole point of presenting this to this meeting, is to just get this feedback while he's in the deeps of his creative, experience. And so this will be great feedback.
Yeah, it's okay, Brett. Carlos went to the chosen few last weekend. There you go. All right, let's move on down the agenda. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Brett. Yes, absolutely, Pat. Okay. We're gonna go to community updates. So I'm gonna let Carlos have the floor. I know you have a couple of things you want to share with us. And then after Carlos, I'm gonna open the floor for the alderman's offices. I see that the 21st Ward is represented here this evening. Chief of Staff Carla Glover is here from Alderman Brickens' office. And obviously Sean Flynn, Chief of Staff for Alderman Moore, as well as the alderman, are here representing the 17th Ward. But Carlos, if you have any updates, we'd like to allow you space to do so. Welcome to
Just really quickly, the idea of the resurrection of that Save-A-Lot store is indicative of turning a negative into a positive. And, Save-A-Lot, and actually Alderman Moore kind of took a little bit of what I was going to share. Save-A-Lot abandoned this community pre-COVID. Right before COVID, and as a community and with the owner of the Save-A-Lot, I think he's off the phone now, we were able to turn that negative into a positive and use the Save-A-Lot as kind of the command center for our COVID fight and addressing food insecurity. And many of you guys know, delivering or providing 1,200 families with meals, 25 pounds of produce and 25 pounds of meat and 25 pounds of dry goods each week for nearly 2 years. And even now that the Save-A-Lot is utilized as a place where we've done, COVID testing initially, COVID vaccination subsequent to the testing, and still distribute PPE. So kudos to everybody on this platform, the leadership of the community, and especially you, those of us who have participated in feeding our community in this, during the pandemic. So I'm going to be really brief. I'm excited to share that the UI Health Miles Square Health Center, a primary and immediate care center, does now have an opening date, August 1st. And just a really quick commercial, that clinic will offer community-based healthcare services to patients of every age, regardless of insurance status. While UI Health will accept most major insurance plans, a sliding fee payment option is available for uninsured patients. Services like behavioral health services, family medicine, HIV/AIDS care, immunizations, obstetrics and gynecology, on-site medical laboratory, pediatrics, prenatal care, primary care, I'm reading this, specialty care, immediate care, adult and pediatric dental services, oral health services coming to 79th and Halsted, and women's health. And so They are looking to open up August 1st for appointments. Many of you that live right around the Healthy Lifestyle Hub probably received brochures from UI Health during the past week. I'm not sure what the radius of distribution was. I see there's some words in the chat. At any rate, excited. I mean, that's one of the things I'm most excited about, bringing high quality healthcare to our community. The official ribbon cutting. So typically, as you know, businesses, health centers want to open up, kind of work out the kinks and reach a steady state. And so we're looking at September 29th, 2022, 92922 for an official ribbon cutting there, and soon thereafter, all 5 floors of the building will be completely built out. The building's been oversubscribed, which is a great thing in the midst of all this trauma. And so we will look at a full-scale open house and visit through all 5 floors sometime later in the fall. So that pretty much, Patrick, I wanted to share that. I know we haven't done a full-scale presentation to this roundtable. I think Norma Sanders is out on vacation, but we've shared kind of some of the tendency. In fact, if Crystal Stevens wants to unmute and talk about the exciting UIC Neighborhood Center that she will be leading, that's opening up on the third floor, I will yield some of my time to Crystal, who lives right around the corner.
Oh, wow, Carlos. I wasn't prepared to say anything, but thank you. And yeah, I'll be serving for the University of Illinois at Chicago's Auburn Gresham Neighborhood Center's community coordinator. And in that role, I'll be reaching out to many individuals as well as organizations in and around Auburn Gresham, primarily in Auburn Gresham, as well as schools and departments at UIC to help engage and provide different services for residents of Auburn Gresham, all in a way to support, or in ways to support, around 4 different pillars. And that's in arts and culture, health and wellness, economic development or democracy, and education, finally education. So, I may be reaching out to different individuals or groups to find out what they have to say. I participate in different community chats and other kinds of outreach to get what is on people's minds and hearts and to find out what their needs are. And I'll be more than happy to show or to share my email address if you have any questions for me for later. And thank you.
Certainly. Just answering a couple of the questions, and sorry I didn't share. So walk-ins and appointments are welcome. To make an appointment to the UI Health Primary and Immediate Care Center, call 312-996-2000. I'll put that in the chat. The primary care hours will be initially Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. And then the immediate care hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturdays and Sundays, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so those will be the stated hours when the health center opens up. Also opening up, in addition to the health center and the UIC Neighborhood Center, will be the Heartland Alliance. And I don't want to put Alderman Moore on the spot here, probably knows a little bit more about Heartland than I do, but their office is a beautiful 3,500 square foot office. They are relocating from the Stewart Business Center at 400 West 76th Street. So they're moving all of their services into the Healthy Lifestyle Hub, and their primary services are focused on CHA residents and voucher holders. Much of their services will be about workforce development and preparing families for living wage jobs and jobs that have put those families on the path to wealth generation. Alderman Moore, I don't know if you want to add anything to Heartland Alliance. I know you've worked with them for a while.
Yeah, just the fact that, and I'm glad they're staying in the community, because the partnership, when we do have issues with some Section 8 residents, they're usually very responsive, and we've been able to work with them to control that, and that's what I appreciate them about them being close to the community, and so that's the benefit of it, and we work together closely while I was at CHA, but even more now is Alderman when we have those issues, because they get tackled really quickly. And so we don't have a lot of them, but when we do have them, they're taking them on. So I appreciate them coming to that site.
And due to some of supply chain delays, et cetera, I mean, the project has slipped slightly, which is why some of the other tenants are yet to open. In fact, the Bank of America Advanced Center is expected to be open later in the fall. So there's some delays there, but Bank of America is excited to really have an audience with everyone on this platform, and working with Leo High School and Simeon High School to share some of their money smart management curriculum with students. So the B of A will be coming. The pharmacy is delayed as well, the independently owned pharmacy. Ironically, I don't know who mentioned earlier in the call the issue of the civil unrest, and you guys know we lost just about every pharmacy and every banking institution for a period of time due to civil unrest, and the fact that we will be opening up those services in the Healthy Lifestyle Hub across from a vacant CVS pharmacy is something that everyone on this call should be proud of, and thanks for your vigilance and making that happen. Other tenancies, Serenity Home Healthcare will be moving into the building as well, with a 2,000 square foot. That's a pretty large facility, and they will be looking to hire from the community. AGB Security Services is looking to have a 1,000 square foot office in the building as well. Intercity Underwriting and their contract with Illinois Tollway. This is something Alderman Moore talked to me about earlier. Their contract is to help train residents and get residents, Black and brown residents from our community, trained and in line for jobs with the Illinois Tollway. And as you guys know, those are high-paying jobs, and so they will be working and operating out of the Healthy Lifestyle Hub as well. I know. Big Brothers, Big Sisters will be in the building, Mickey's Retro Grill, and others. And so, I mentioned a September 29th ribbon cutting and a larger open house, throughout the building later that fall, when all of these businesses will be open and we can showcase the entire 5-floor development. And that's about all I had.
Thank you, Carlos. A lot of exciting news. You guys are hearing a lot of breaking news here. The redevelopment of Auburn Gresham, the key corridor here that is the commercial center for this neighborhood, is underway. We're excited about it. Also, just want to mention, we don't want to forget that the Metro had a groundbreaking 2 weeks ago. I think that's also a great sign. That's a $30+ million project. And also, for those of you who have signed on to be stakeholders in the steering committee for the 79th Street planning study, you'll get an email probably tomorrow or Monday for sure, but we're planning a walking tour on July 15th at 11 a.m. So we'll be out in the community, walking the corridor and getting some, insight and taking some observations with the planning team and our steering committee. So you all who signed up will be getting some communication from our consultant team. Alderman Moore, before we close, I'd like to, let me go to Carla Glover first, and then we'll go with the 17th ward updates, if there are any updates. Carla, I see that you're still here from the 21st ward. Do you have any updates from your office?
Can you hear me?
You can hear you.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone. So just a couple quick updates. So I'm not sure if you all are aware, but there's a UPS store that's located at 8301 South Holland. They're looking to have a grand opening in late July. So we welcome folks to go by there for their mailings and things of that nature. Also, we are having, again, our 21st Ward music series. It's going to be held on 2 Sundays, July 17th and July 24th from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. We welcome you all to attend. Tell your friends and bring your family and your lawn chairs. It's going to be at Audrey's Garden, which is at 9315 South Ashland Avenue. And that's all that I have.
And what were those dates again?
It is on Sunday, July 17th from 3 to 5 p.m. and also on Sunday, July 24th at the same time from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m.
Okay, thank you, Carla. You let Alderman Brookins know that we all say hello.
I sure will.
And okay, Alderman Moore, do you have any updates from your office?
Yes, just real quickly. First of all, again, thank everyone for their input and for the work that is being done and that's spearheading a lot of good interest in the community and the surrounding communities at that. One of the things as we look at Jerk Villa, they hope to be ready and open by the like September of October. The work that they've done in that place is just great. One of the things that is we've heard about from the community is that they want places to go where they can sit down, where they can relax and everything like that. And if you ever been down to Jerkville on 22nd Street, you have my assurance that this is the, you know what? I'm not going to take any disrespect from anyone. You can save any messages for yourself. If it's something about this project, you can put it in the chat. But any personal attacks, I promise you, will not be subjected on this call, or you'll be asked to be removed from this call. And so with that said, I'm looking for them to do even a better job, and I guarantee it's going to be a better job on what they did even in the South Loop and what they're in terms of what they're bringing to 79th and Union. And I am really excited about that project. Definitely a place I'll be visiting. Happy to have something in our community that we can walk to and go to and just relax and commune and develop relationships. And that's what it's about, having a great community. So I'm happy and excited about the investment that Jerk Villa has made. The other part is that because of this, in the West Chatham area by Farm and Meals, there's interest and from the owner of Ooh Wee, who has the Ooh Wee restaurant on 83rd and Wabash. And it may or may not be named Ooh Wee, but they're gonna put a breakfast place there and sit down breakfast place. And if people know gospel singer Kim Stratton, she does and cooks soul foods. If you ever see her on her Facebook page and all of that, she's going to do open a soul food restaurant. And then also I think they're going to bring a Harold's Chicken to that location. But I'm excited about the sit down possibilities of a sit down breakfast restaurant and a sit down nice soul food restaurant in that West Chatham Mall. And so as these things happen with the creation of the Healthy Hub site, with the new developments that Evergreen is doing, what Jerk Villa is doing, what the Metro is bringing, it is bringing up, this is what we're talking about, things that trigger more investment in the community. And when you have businesses that's coming in, that will also alleviate the tax burden, because now these taxes begin to get spread around in this community to the businesses and not just be shouldered on the backs of the residents. And I worked at the Board of Review of Tax Appeals for many years. And that's why you see a lot of people talk about the South suburbs and how high their taxes are. That's because when the malls shut down, the residents had to take the burden of those taxes. So now that we're bringing development in, the burden of those taxes will fall on these businesses that's coming in. And so that's another example of when you're doing investment in the community. So again, I'm just thankful for the opportunity and the residents and their involvement and seeing this community transform. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman, for that update. Seeing that it's 7:22, I'll entertain community questions and answers. If we have a Q&A, and we can close at 7:30. So we'll have open floor for any kind of discussion or questions or comments that any one of the attendees here wants to open up the floor. So I'll open up the floor. If you have a question, please unmute yourself and let's have some community discussion for a few moments.
I think we're
Yes,
fine,
Ms.
Patrick. A lot of people ask good, intelligent questions. So
Oh yeah, I'm giving Ms. Wilson. Ms. Wilson has got her hand up first. Go ahead, Ms. Wilson.
Oh, I didn't mean to be first.
That's fine.
Well, it's an old question, Carlos, with the number of, do we have any projection on the number of employees you're going to have and where they're going to park? I do know there are 2 parking lots on both sides of the Healthy Hub, but those are minimal spaces. Is there a plan for additional sites for employees to park? We're not going to even talk about the persons who are going to be looking for services.
Yeah, that is, Ms. Wilson, that is an issue that we continue to look to solve. So, I mean, we do have some ideas. There's a vacant CVS, a kitty corner. Their parking, I believe, accommodates nearly 50 cars. Their lease extends to 2032. And so there's conversation that if, we can sublease, that footprint, then that can be parking ideally for the Healthy Hub. We're also incorporating a design of a community-led mobility system or shuttle system, a low carbon or no carbon shuttle service that will ideally from the CVS site be the place where residents who need access to, whether it's the Metro, the Renewable Energy and Urban Farming Campus at 650 West 83rd Street, some of the businesses that are proliferating as we speak, the Jamaica Jerk that Alderman Moore just mentioned. There are other businesses west along 79th, south down Halsted, north down Halsted. So this Auburn Gresham local mobility hub is something unique to this area that we're trying to design that would also remediate or relieve some of the parking and traffic constraints. So, I mean, we are certainly looking to address that issue. And we're hoping that by the time, the end of this year happens, or certainly before that, we've got significant movement, and we'll share that at one of the roundtables upcoming.
Thank you, Carlos. A couple questions in the chat that I'll try to explore here. From Mr. Thomas, Tim says, at what point does the Department of Planning become involved or notified of a situation like Aldi's, and I assume that's the closing, because the community was blindsided by the closing and the issuance of a liquor license, breaking the moratorium without community input, which it appears was done in February this year. So I will tell you that we are all surprised at the closing, not only of this Aldi, but a few of their stores across the city. We're always surprised because, as you know, and Tim knows this because Tim, he understands business here. These stores are private operators, and unless the city had a redevelopment agreement with them to subsidize them coming into these communities to operate, then we would never know in advance that they were closing unless they informed the mayor as a courtesy, or the mayor's office, or World Business Chicago, or anyone in government as a courtesy. As you know, the alderman himself was caught off guard and surprised by this recent closing. This is not one of those stores. So while we all agonize over, situations like this that are created, based on market data and whatever these operators present as a rationale for their economic decision, we continue to look for solutions to immediately remedy these situations when they occur, such as, we're blessed right now to have an opportunity to review a proposal that we feel very confident about that could hopefully get to the finish line that will replace not only the previous Sable app, but also now provide a destination for people in the neighborhood to shop locally with, potential these yellow banana Sable app grocery projects. So we're happy the timing is working out for us here in Auburn Gresham. I'll remind you that while we, and Mr. Meyer, I need you to, hey, John, can you mute? I'm gonna mute you, John. While we're fortunate to have an answer, and we also have in Auburn Gresham / West Chatham, we have the Whole Food or the Walmart over on 83rd. Englewood remains an enigma for us over there in that community, with the Whole Foods leaving and not yet having a solution for that. But just like in this case, where the city and our partners worked together behind the scenes to try to identify suitable replacements, we're doing the same thing over in Englewood, as well as on the west side, to find suitable replacements to provide the need, to fill the need for local grocers and grocers operating in those neighborhoods. So we're all caught off guard when stuff like this happens, Tim. And we try to do our best as a collective, between community and government, to try to find replacement options. I see another question, and again, please feel free to raise your hand. Let me know if you have a question. We have like 1 minute or 2 minutes left before we wrap. What happened to Afro Joe's? Afro Joe's, as you know, left 83rd and Halsted. They are currently operating at 99th and Longwood, around there in Beverly, and they have a much bigger space. I've talked to the owner. It was an opportunity they could not pass up. They have a wonderful location. I encourage you all to go there and check it out and shop and get your coffee over there and your snacks. It's really, they're doing great.
And we would certainly still welcome Afro Joe's in the Healthy Lifestyle Hub.
Yeah, Carlos, go ahead. I know Carlos is recruiting for all kinds of tenants to make HLH a thriving place.
I was just going to add one more item to Ms. Wilson's question. So we are also looking for the Healthy Hub, and we're trying to get our heads together around incentivizing public transit, for the employees in that building. I haven't seen it yet, but we're working with Metra. In fact, the executive director of Metra, they are piloting a program where it's for each month, $100 pays you unlimited rides on Metra. But the more important thing is it incorporates universal transfer to CTA and PACE. Sorry, that is unheard of, because you can't transfer from Metra to PACE or from Metra to CTA. So these $100 monthly passes. So imagine being able to ride throughout the CTA system and Metra system for $100 per month. So we're trying to work it out so GADDC's 45 staff members looking to incorporate an incentive by which they take public transportation, and maybe the others that also work out of the building. So just trying to be creative, and it's healthy for the environment as well.
Ms. Wilson has her hand up. Ms. Wilson.
I certainly want to thank you, Carlos, and it is good that you're trying to be as innovative as you can, and I understand the excitement that some of us, that we have relative to bringing in businesses. But I think we also have to be mindful of the persons like myself and my family who paid taxes for over 50, 60 years over here in Auburn Gresham, and we deserve, and I just want to say this as a mindful point of perspective, that we who have been here for decades deserve to maintain a quality of life also. And being mindful of a great influx of people who are coming into the community that certainly need services, but with nowhere to park, puts a dilemma on those of us who have property in the immediate area. So that's why I'm asking, that this be addressed as best it can, because it seems that this has gone on the side table and not thinking of the residents who, are here on the blocks that feed into 79th Street. But I thank you so much for the consideration that you had.
Okay, thank you for your question and comment. Ladies and
And
gentlemen.
Patrick, let me
Alvin.
add, definitely not on the side table, definitely at the forefront. And as we finish Metro and that parking lot, it's there. That's why Carlos and I had a conversation, and that's where the mobile transit came from as well. And so just shuttling, and shuttling those people from when that parking lot is finalized, shuttling people from that parking lot to the Healthy Hub site and to other areas, whether it's the developments for the supper club or anything like that. Most part is going to be a walkable community. That's what's part of what we're creating. But for people that will drive and park, that's where that will help out at. And we'll continue to look for other sites as well. So it's definitely not on the back burner, definitely at the forefront of it. And as we go through any growing pains like anyone does when they're doing development, we'll go through those, but we definitely will figure this out because we have solutions already planned with that parking lot at 79th and Low.
Thank you, Alderman. Your commitment to solving for problems remains a constant, and I appreciate your leadership. And everybody, thank you for your hanging out here till 7:34. Let me just let me see here. Our next roundtable will be scheduled for August 25th. And then I'm projecting the subsequent roundtable for September to be on the 29th. So if anything changes, you'll be the first to know. And I will email you with changes or updates or what have you. But this roundtable is nothing without your participation and your support. Your voices remain value add to the collective. And again, we are happy to continue to have this platform to engage the residents, the stakeholders, and all those doing business and trying to make Auburn Gresham a wonderful place. Like I learned from Carlos. Let me give Carlos a shout out here. Carlos once told me, we're not planning for the Auburn Gresham of tomorrow. We're planning for the Auburn Gresham 5 years from now. So all of these developments that are being proposed and under construction and near completion are to make this neighborhood, this community, this ward, this part of town, the South Side, a destination and a wonderful place to live and do business, and keep our dollars circulating within this neighborhood to make sure that we capture the full economic impact of all that we're efforting here today. Thank you very much. This is a great roundtable.
Mr. Brutus.
Oh, Ms. Wilson.
I'm so sorry, but I forgot to say, we had an art person, an artist who presented at the last roundtable, and she did speak and say that she was using students from Leo High School. And I just really think that students, children who attend elementary school in Auburn Gresham, and those schools do have art teachers, art positions. These children need to also be included in the artwork that is going on in the community, because they live in the community and they will be proud to come back and show their parents and their children, because typically people stay in the community when they buy a property for a number of years, that they could come back and see something that they had a part of in the community. This is a project that's funded by the City of Chicago. And I think students who attend City of Chicago schools who are in the Auburn Gresham area, and I can name them, but I know you know them, should be included in that project. And I know there's protocols for persons to come in, but I think they need to be met so that our children can be a part of what's going on in an artwork, because that's a great motivator for children. And I really think they needed to be included in the City of Chicago project.
Yeah, thank you for your comment, Ms. Wilson. Dorian Sylvan, who is our artist in residence, who you're referring to, you're absolutely right. She's working with some students and some, teenagers of age, and I'll say it that way because I know that she kind of spoke about this at the roundtable last month with respect to not having too many youngsters because of the work that was involved. She wanted some older kids, and so I hear what you're saying. Brett Swinney is here this evening from DCASE, and I'm sure he'll take that back to Lydia Ross and the team over there and maybe re-explore this with Ms. Sylvan to see if there could be some smaller scale projects along the way. I know that we're also looking at some other work. This is not going to be a one and done for her in this corridor. And so there may be some other projects where, like you just suggested, there could be some impactful add-ins for younger students. As you know, in this community, we have a lot of elementary schools. And so if you're talking about some K through 8 age kids, 10 to 14 or so.
Certainly your upper grade, your middle and your upper grade students are very capable on art projects, and they do have their art teachers in their schools that could also solidify and support what's going on in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad she's starting with Leo, and at least we're getting some participation there. So, but Brett's here, I'm here. We'll take that back to DCASE and try to reintroduce that to Dorian and see what her ideas may be on that. But that being said, I thank you again. We want to thank our alderman, the 21st Ward, Carlos Nelson, our guests previously, and all of you for joining us this evening. Thank you very much for joining the roundtable, and we'll see you next month. Good evening, everybody, and have a great night.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Be safe, everyone.
Yes, be safe.
Thanks, Patrick. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. All right, boss. You got it, alderman. All right. Good night, everyone. Oh, hey, Cussy. What's up, Cussner? Hey, CJ.